So I believe this is a 2022 Harley Street Bob. This was the first Harley Davidson I got a chance to test ride.
He did a forward kit for the foot controls.
Okay.
So they're not mid, they're
Are they?
forward.
They're usually mid. Okay.
Yep, they're usually mid.
Awesome.
So getting on this bike, I had to adjust to these forward controls. I wasn't really used to that yet, but they really weren't that hard to get used to. So almost immediately, by the time I got to the end of the parking lot, I was already comfortable enough to hit the road. So once we hit the road, it's kind of interesting. This test ride was on a pretty busy road, so I had to kind of watch out and pay attention. And they send a guy out with you to ride with. I believe this guy's name was Frank at the Hellbender Harley Davidson. So he was kind of showing me where to go and just making sure that, you know, the bikes are good to help if something happened. So when we're riding around, everything was really smooth with the bike. The gears shifted fine. It didn't really take much adjusting to at all, and I usually ride a Honda Rebel 500 if you're unfamiliar with my channel. So interesting things about the ride. Yes, this truck did start creeping over into the lane a little bit, which was a little sketchy. I don't even think they were actually changing lanes. They just were a little bit over the line. So anyway, we took this loop, and everything was really smooth riding. I didn't really get to push the bike a lot. We went on kind of a mellow test ride, and one thing that I had to get used to was the turn signals. So on my bike, they're on one handlebar, and you flip it to one side or the other side and push it in the middle to turn them off. On Harleys, you just have one on each handlebar, and so that took some getting used to. So I had to ask Frank, I believe his name was, how to do that while we were on the test ride. So I'm over here shouting at him.
How do I do the turn signals, like, off? How do I turn the turn signals off and on, I guess? They're just on and off? Turn signals? Yeah. How do I turn them off? Huh? Oh, okay. Got it.
So when I got on this bike, I was a little intimidated by the 114 cubic inch engine, but they have it set to where the torque doesn't hit you right away. So like you have a lot of power once you're going, but you're not just gonna like accidentally juice the throttle and end up on your butt. So it was actually really easy to adjust to and not bad at all. It was a fun ride. I like the handlebar height being a little higher. I'm not sure if that's stock or if that's the way that the previous owner just had this set up, but it was very comfortable either way. And I enjoyed this one. Of this versus the Indian Scout, I actually liked that the Indian Scout had more torque right away. So as much as I was worried about it, I kind of found that I do like having a little bit more torque right off the front end and not kind of just waiting for it to kick in. But that being said, this bike's an excellent bike and it was an enjoyable ride for sure. So I think up here in a second, I'll chat with him a little bit about that, and you can hear what my experience was that particular day. This was several months ago, so it's hard for me to remember every detail about the ride.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It's a lot of power, but they did it well.
Yeah, they did. I haven't, it's like on the first part of the throttle, it's like it's not really any more juice than mine. You can give it more juice, but you have to get a certain way around before you get it, so it's not too bad.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, you don't want a front end torquey bike, you know?
Right.
So in conclusion, this bike was a lot of fun to ride, not as intimidating as I thought it would be, and it looks really cool and it was enjoyable. However, if I were to get a Harley at this point, I think I would go with the current Sportster model because it has a lot more torque on the front end, so you feel that power right away rather than just having a good amount of power at any speed. But depending on what kind of riding that you like, this bike might be the one for you. It's very comfortable. I think the forward controls were a great addition to it. It felt very comfortable to ride, and the handlebar height being a little bit higher was nice. So I'd recommend this to somebody that wants to go on moderate rides that are, you know, a little bit longer than what you'd want to do on a Sportster. So if you're in it for a longer ride, I think that this is a really good bike to have. And I wish I'd gotten a chance to really experience the power at higher speeds like highway, but maybe in the future I'll get a chance to. Thanks for watching, and there'll be more test rides coming soon, or you can watch my content on my Honda Rebel 500, and I have a scooter as well.